Thank you for choosing CTN. And now, it's time with Herman and Sharon.
I love you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Sharon.
That's right.
This is my wife. Yes. And we thank you for joining us. I like her name so well.
Yes,
that
we
I
decided
decided
to
to
have
have
another
another guest with the same name.
That's right.
Okay? We have.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, yes. We have Ted and Sharon Brewer. And they've been with us
Many, many times.
25 years?
Oh, I don't know. Ask Ted. How many years, Ted?
86, 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Long
Don't
time.
say it.
Yeah, no, shh. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, there's actually technology that can make this happen, where you could have them seated in a chair at the very first time we had them on, and you can have it move to the present. And you
see
can
yourselves aging.
You can
Yeah.
see the whole process, and you're going, oh my goodness. Now either they'll think I like them better now than I did then, and that's very possible.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometime I've seen stars that today they look better than they did when they did their first film.
So how many years you been married then? Because you were
33.
married. I was going to say,
Are
you
you
were
trying
married when
to
you
tell
first
us
came
something indirectly? I picked up,
Well, yeah, it's whichever one you want to pick.
Oh, okay.
Better now,
that you're playing it safe.
better then. Yes, that's right. So we'll just let them say that. But,
Okay.
But you guys, you know, sometimes you see people, and we will say this, they did not age well. You guys, whatever product you're using, keep it up.
Thank you.
And I was just telling Ted, we do a lot of this kind of programming, and you may wonder, Herman, why are you doing so much of it? Because I am really a proponent of taking care of the Holy Spirit. This is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and it's the only one you're going to get, folks. You can't go, okay, I'm going to jump over into this other one that I took better care of. It doesn't work that way. And
You start when you're young.
because I'm still exercising vigorously on the beach, and and at my age, which I won't say what it is because I say it so often that I'm starting to get people to say the age even before I utter it. So I'm going to stop doing that. Okay, but let's put it this way: I'm not too far from 80. But
You just had to do it though, didn't
yeah, I
you?
know. I just had to say. But so they're guessing now. How old
Yeah,
is
right. I don't think they are.
But I've been exercising since I was in my 20s.
Yep.
And some people will say, when they'll hear what I do, they go, I got to start doing that. I said, and they're older when they're saying this to me. I'm going, I don't think it'll be a good idea. If you're going to do what I'm doing now and starting it, I think the body would break, right?
Just
Is that
start
right, Ted?
slow. Start slow.
Well, you know, it's interesting you asked me that because studies have shown that even women and men who are wheelchair bound, if they get up and start doing some type of physical exercise, even in their 70s or their 80s,
Wow.
that they'll actually increase lean muscle mass.
Even in
Yeah.
their 70s.
Well, no.
Even
well, I'm in my 60s, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be 61 here in a few weeks.
Let me just tell you about it. Dr. Ted is a popular seminar speaker who shares biblical dietary guidelines, and his decades of hands-on medical research to maximum health. He has regularly shared his information with presidents, heads of state, political dignitaries, and I might add some of the Christians on television that you probably consider your favorite Bible teachers or whatever. And I say that with a big question mark sometimes. He also has assisted in how they take care of their body. Am I right?
That's correct.
If we named them, you'd go, oh my goodness. So, I mean, this guy, I was bragging on him yesterday, and I think I went overboard on the guests that I had. So I'm trying to calm it down today. But it's good to have you guys.
Yeah.
They're kind of like family. So you have a tendency to overdo it with people you know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Am I right?
That's true.
What's a reunion every time we get together?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Because you believed in us 30-something years
You
ago.
were the first person that ever put
Yeah.
me on TV.
In fact, I was telling the guest yesterday, I said, Ted Brewer, his mind is so unbelievable that the way he used to talk was like a machine gun. And I used to say, Ted,
Slow down.
nobody knows what you just said.
Yeah.
Slow it down, so they know exactly what you said. And the guy looked at me and goes, wow. He said, can you help me? so it's funny, you know, that people that have that kind of intellect, our son-in-law is that way, David Anderson.
Yeah, we had to slow him
I've had
down.
to slow him down because people that are very, very intelligent.
It's like a minigun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Their
they
brain
just,
goes so
because
fast.
the brain going so fast, and they're looking at the average person that they're talking to thinking, they knew what I said, and the average person says, no, I don't know what you just said. So that's why if you wanted to count, you have to slow it down. And so that's back into, wow, how many, 30 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
We were talking about that. Now you have a radio program?
Yes, we do have a radio show on Global Star Satellite Network. It's getting huge. We do it every single day from 3 to 4. We cover all types of health topics. We also cover geopolitical issues. So it's interesting. And so we're regular guests on a lot of also online programs.
And Austin's our co-host.
And Austin, my son, my 28-year-old, is my
You ought to
co-host.
see him. Wow.
So we basically cover the whole gamut on my show. We talk about all kinds of things that are basically politically incorrect. I'm very politically incorrect.
Yeah.
I mean, to me,
Proud of it.
if I see something that's wrong, it doesn't make any difference whether I'm supposed to say it or not.
By the way-
I'm going to call it.
If he sees something wrong, he then goes to research.
That's right.
and he researches in detail forever, and he will sometimes send me a link, and I'm going, Ted, please, not another link.
I told him he should have been an attorney.
So I'll press the link, and I go, oh, why did I do this? So I'm sitting there, you know, I'm going, but I mean, he researches what he's about to have an opinion on.
That's right.
A lot of people have an opinion, but they don't know what they're talking about when they give their opinion. So you got to be careful with that. So this is not going to be a political show. This is going to be
No.
Health.
because
Health.
we've covered those, and let me tell you, he knows what he's talking about. Sharon, I mean, you're a black belt, right?
Yes.
Are you? Okay, you are a black belt.
In open karate.
Okay.
Yes.
So don't mess with her. She made. What are you? 5'9"?
5'8".
5'8". And on heels, she's getting up there around 6 foot. Okay, but anyway, she looks very trim, and even
very.
to the point of maybe looking fragile. Don't mess with that trim, fragile person. Okay, you will be sorry. And Ted, he lifts huge amounts of weight. He has got a gymnasium to die for. I mean, I can't explain to you what's in that gymnasium. He took me in there one day, and I'm going, you have got to be kidding me.
And they think they're dying when we take them through a workout.
Oh,
I
yes.
bet.
Well, the reason I did that years ago, 25 years ago, number one, I've got a nice gym at the house. I do. And it was one of my goals. And, you know, I mean, and
You have been so blessed by the Lord.
God's
Gosh.
been good
I
to
mean,
us. But what happened is
I tweet, I text him every once in a while and tell him those words.
Oh,
Do you know how blessed
we
you
thank
are?
I always
him
say
every
thanks,
day.
thank you,
We
Jesus.
thank him every
But you know, and it's not just financially or whatever. It's everything. I mean, I've got a wonderful wife. I've got a wonderful relationship with God.
Yeah.
I love Yeshua, Jesus, with all my heart. I mean, we pray every single day as a family. I mean, we have children that are amazing.
Yeah.
So to me, financial success is okay. That's nice. I like that. Don't get me wrong.
That's a sidebar.
It's a sidebar.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing is the relationships that we build while we're here. That's exactly right. You know, and the family and the friends that we have. Because without that, what's the difference? That's why millionaires commit suicide all the time, because they don't care, because they don't have any ability to do anything they want to do.
Yeah.
People with a lot of money just sometimes aren't happy, because all money does is make you more of what you already are. So if you're inclined to give, you become a bigger giver.
Wow.
If you're inclined to be greedy, you become more greedy. If you're inclined to use drugs, you become a drug addict. If you're inclined to drink, you drink more alcohol. All money does is magnify who you and what you are. And see, people get that mixed up. They think that, well, if I have more money, I'll be happy. If I have more stuff, I'll be happy. If I have a different wife or a different husband, I'll be happy. It doesn't work that way. The righteousness, peace, and joy through the infilling of the Holy Spirit is so it gives us the happiness or the peace and the joy. And happiness is really not a good word. I don't like that word, and here's why. It's based on happenings.
Yes.
And see, our life shouldn't be based on happenings. We shouldn't be going from mountaintop to mountaintop, and we're only, quote, happy when we're on top of a peak.
doesn't last,
It
does
doesn't
it?
last. It's all fleeting.
Yes.
It's all
The
fleeting.
joy of the Lord.
Yes.
That's what we need. That's right. But
Amen.
today we're going to talk about
Amen.
magnesium, and magnesium is an incredible
Wow,
mineral.
that's a good one.
And what's interesting about magnesium is this. Magnesium is like the gasoline you put into your car. Your body burns it in over 200 chemical reactions in the body. It needs large amounts of magnesium. Calcium's like the radiator fluid that's constantly recirculated in the car. Our body needs calcium, but not that much calcium, but it needs huge amounts of magnesium. Without magnesium, you have all kinds of problems. Lack of magnesium is one of the primary causes of atherosclerotic plaquing, which means you start getting built up inside of the arteries with calcium, which basically is hardening of the arteries. In addition to that, if you don't have sufficient quantities of magnesium, you start having all kinds of joint issues. But the issue with magnesium is this: if you take it orally, there's lots of different types of magnesium which work as laxatives. And so when you put it in your body doesn't really like to digest it orally, so it pushes it through, creating a laxative effect, which means you don't absorb very much magnesium. The best way to get magnesium in your body is topically, through your skin, transdermal absorption, primarily through your feet or through your arms. And one of the biggest things that Sharon's got an article here we can talk about in a second, is so many women don't realize that when they put things on their body like aluminum chlorhydrate, antiperspirant deodorants, that they have been linked now in many studies to breast cancer. Mm-hmm. So antiperspirant deodorants, they say basically in some of the research that I've done, cause breast cancer. So we have an aluminum deodorant that is aluminum-free deodorant that basically we have at Health Masters. It's a magnesium deodorant, but you don't want to use an aluminum deodorant. Those are really, really bad for you. And Sharon, tell them your story. You had
The spinal stenosis?
Well, no, it was interesting, Herman. About 5 or 6 years ago, we had a yard maintenance guy who worked for us part-time.
He's got a compound that he needs a yard man. Trust me.
I love the way we always do all this.
Yeah. I want to bring it back to reality, because I love when Ted talks, but this program is like, it's easy flowing, it's say what you think and make sure you believe what you say. And so every once in a while you'll see him go into that area, and I love it. That's why he's on all the time. But then I want to bring it back to reality where we live, and that is we're loose. We just enjoy this,
That's
right?
We do.
And that's basically where we are.
Okay, so I want to hear about this
actually,
yard guy.
when I'm on the show with Herman and Sharon, it's more like a conversation we're having at the house in front of the
exactly.
fireplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the cameras were when we go there, if the cameers were there,
that's what we're doing here.
It'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
Same show. But what was interesting, we had the yard guy. A lot of people have yard guys that come in. You pay them $25 a week or whatever.
Pull
They
weeds.
mow the yard, pull weeds. And so what happened is this yard guy died. Now he just died. He suddenly.
While he was doing the yard work?
No. Okay. One day. Well, no. It was a crazy story. I'll tell you the whole story because this guy's. May he rest in peace too. His name was Mike. And in fact, I'm going to mention his name. His name was Michael Ferry. May he rest in peace. He's one of the finest people I've ever known.
Wow.
He's a great man.
That's wonderful.
And he was a former biker. He's like with Hell's Angels.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But he got saved. And so it was so funny. I'm going to tell you the whole story. If you guys would, let me tell you the story, because this is funny. It's not funny that he died, but it's funny, his story. He comes up to me one day, and he needs a job. Like, he was referred by another man. And he's this little thin guy, about 55 years old, great shape, thin, worked out. Told me he's a former biker, Hell's Angel, loves motorcycles, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he was a real rough guy when he was young. And I said, sure, we'll see what you can do. So he worked, and he's very consistent. So every morning he'd show up, to do work in the house, or to pull some weeds or whatever. And what was interesting is, one day he's working for me, he's pulling weeds, and his hat comes off, and he has a ponytail down to his bottom. I mean, it's like 4 feet long. It falls down. I mean, it's a biker. He's a biker. And he looked at me, and he goes, is that a problem? And I said, dude, you got to deal with your hair, not me. I don't care how long your hair is. It makes no difference to me. And he looked at me kind of funny. He goes, well, you're the first person that's ever said that to me. And I said, why would I possibly care how long your hair is, Mike? You have to deal with it, not me. And he goes, oh, okay. I said, you can wear a hat, not wear a hat. I don't care. And he goes, oh, because he was trying to hide the ponytail under the hat. Well, like 2 weeks later, he comes back, and his hair's gone. And I go, what's wrong with your hair? What happened to your hair? He goes, I donated it to Locks of Love. That's the kind of guy he was. And I said, wow. I said, you decided. He goes, well, Ted, to be honest with you, it didn't really bother you. And I kind of did that as rebellion when I was young. And you didn't really care if I did that or not. So I don't care if I have it or not.
It's a good testimony.
I mean, but what was interesting, he ended up basically started having some heart issues. And I remember he was hospitalized. And I told him, I said, Mike, I said, he was in the hospital in intensive care. And he called me up. And he says, Ted, I don't know what to do. I'm having real bad chest pains. And I said, Mike, I said, look, here's the deal. There's a really good doctor in Lakeland. He can do intravenous chelation therapy, which will clean out the arteries naturally.
Exactly.
And I said, there's all kinds of things you can do if they stabilize you first rather than having to go in for bypass surgery. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, I don't know what to do because I don't have any insurance. They're going to do the surgery now. I said, Mike, this is a really dangerous surgery. 40% of people are so disabled they cannot return back to work. And I said, this is a major problem. He goes, well, I'm going to do it. And I said, okay. Because you can't make people do what they don't want to do. But we went to visit him in the hospital. He was in the hospital for weeks, bless his heart. Finally got out, couldn't come back to work for 6 months. He comes back to work and he's just not the same. You could tell he had been changed mentally, because remember, they don't tell you this. When you go in for cardiovascular bypass surgery or heart surgery and they take the heart out of the body, or they're working on it or doing bypass on the veins or the arteries, what ends up happening is you have like a disconnect from your heart to your brain. See, your heart starts pumping before your brain kicks in when you're in the womb being developed. There's an energy field that surrounds the heart that throws out a magnetic resonance field that's like 10 times greater than the brain. It's huge. That's why when you get around certain people, you kind of feel a drain on energy, or you feel their energy. What you're picking up is their heart resonance. I've never talked about this on your show. It's amazing if I go into detail on this, but I didn't bring my notes, so I want to make sure I'm accurate with this. But the heart is just this amazing thing that God created. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, the word says. And what was interesting about this is Mike's personality completely changed, but he was still a really nice guy. Well, one day he was in the house talking to me, and he couldn't do much at that point because he was so disabled from the surgery. And he said he'd been wrestling with his cousin, who was like a young kid, the weekend before, but he didn't feel good. Mike didn't. Well, the next day he passed away. May he rest in peace. And the sad part about all of this stuff is that when that happened, you know, we were left without a guy to pull weeds and work around the house and piddle around the house. And Sharon one day got so upset because we won't use glyphosate spray, which is Roundup, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes, because it's been linked to all kinds of diseases. This is the Roundup spray from Monsanto. It's also known as glyphosate. It's so poisonous, it's so toxic to like every human being and living thing on this planet. It's unbelievable what it does. And the studies that were released from the Freedom of Information Act with their own research now links it to multiple types of cancer. So the problem with that is almost all of our food, like wheat products, are sprayed with glyphosate or Roundup about a week before they're harvested because they use it as a desiccant. So they don't wash it off, so we eat the Roundup, which is causing all types of intestinal disorder, like celiac disease as far as I'm concerned, and all types of problems with the intestines and digestive system. So what happened is Mike wasn't there. The weeds overgrew through the front beds because I didn't have time to do it. So Sharon went out there one day on a vengeance, just pulling weeds. Tell them what happened.
Profusely pulling weeds, and I was in my early 50s, and the problem was I wouldn't stop. Well, now I just let the weeds win because you can't beat them. But the next day I woke up, my knuckles were totally swollen. I couldn't bend my hands. It's like an overuse injury. And to this day, they haven't gone down, but the pain's totally gone. I was in so much pain. When I started taking the magnesium salts and soaking my hands and my body and my feet in the magnesium salts, the Dead Sea salts, I noticed incredible energy, but I also noticed that I could bend my fingers and they weren't hurting. Also, the spinal stenosis I'd been dealing with for years from just being an athlete was totally gone. The pain was gone.
So you put it in a bathtub?
Yes, I actually soaked in the bathtub. We do a foot bath every single day. It's an electric foot bath.
20 minutes.
Yeah, we get from Amazon, and then we put the
salts
in it, soak in it 20 minutes, and it's amazing. And the energy, Ted hadn't done it. And
so how does that get from your skin surface to your
body? Body absorbs
it. It's transdermal absorption. It goes right through the skin.
Very quickly.
Kind of like a lot of medicines, you can put them on topically now and they absorb directly into the blood. Magnesium is one of the only minerals that actually does that. And so it's so important that people understand how important magnesium is, because she was having spinal stenosis spurs on her spine, which means they were like jagged edges of
like
bone spurs on her spine. And that's primarily because of a lack of magnesium. The magnesium helps the body to maintain the calcium in balance and doesn't create bone spurs. That's one of the reasons that men should never ever use calcium supplements, period. Never. If you're a guy, you should never take a calcium supplement because it massively increases the risks of heart disease. And women should only use them in moderation if they're basically one of those women who are highly predisposed, like tall and thin or fragile, to developing osteoporotic fractures. They can do that, but it's better to be using something like raw certified goat's milk or cow's milk if it's available, organic in your state. If it's raw, if not, try to get it without being homogenized and make sure it's grass-fed. But there's all kinds of natural things you can do to increase calcium levels in the system without taking a calcium supplement, because it will literally turn your body to stone and cause osteoporotic spurs, including the spinal stenosis spurs. And so what happened is when she started taking the magnesium, it dissolved those arthritic spurs in her spine, and it also helped my shoulder. I couldn't lay or sleep on my left side, you know, from all the years of overuse from the training in the gym. And all of a sudden I started noticing I could sleep on my left side again. I could sleep on my right side, I could sleep on my left side without waking up with excruciating shoulder pain. So it's an amazing product. So we have the lotion. Go ahead and tell them the rest of the story.
Also, a new study just came out of Switzerland confirming that the antiperspirant deodorants that have aluminum chloride in them are cancer causing. They actually go into the breast tissue and they spread because they are like an estrogen mimicker, right?
Yeah.
And you don't need to be using aluminum chloride in your deodorants. We have a magnesium deodorant that is amazing. It smells great. It's the best deodorant I've ever used. You also, when you're putting it in that area near the lymphatic system and the breast tissue, you're actually putting magnesium that is being absorbed into your skin. So it's phenomenal. You feel great. You have more energy from it.
So if
and
they go
joint
to that,
pain.
if they go to the website, right? I can't talk either.
Healthmasters.com.
Well, we have an entire magnesium protocol that's available on the website. You can see it says the magnesium kit.
Oh, and the sports cream.
Take a look at this list of product right there.
That's the bath salts on the far back side. That's the latest book we have there. And then on the bottom right, you see the proprietary joint rebuilding formula. That's to help your joints. Then you have the magnesium oil. That's a sports oil, which is amazing. Then in front, guys, listen to me. If you're over 50, it's prostate support. And boy, does it work as far as keeping your prostate from enlarging to allow you to make sure you maintain a really good urine flow and not have any prostate issues. And then we also have a magnesium ointment. Then we also have the proprietary blend of joint relief. We also have the Dead Sea magnesium oils, and we also have the proprietary joint rebuilding formula.
And you have the deodorant.
And the deodorant.
Yeah,
the deodorant's not. We made a mistake. We didn't bring the deodorant with us. But I used it this morning. I love the stuff.
It's a roll-on.
Great. And the back is the Dead Sea bath salts, which is primarily magnesium chloride. Now that's what you have to have in order to absorb. Magnesium chloride is not like Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate. It doesn't work very well as far as absorption, transdermal absorption. The magnesium chloride does. It goes right through the barrier of the skin and goes into the blood. So guys, if you're having problems with muscle tissue, not wanting to rebuild or not relaxing or not having enough energy levels, it's probably because you've got a magnesium deficiency, which is one of the biggest deficiencies in the United States. So that's why every day we soak our feet like 20 minutes.
How many years have I taken magnesium?
I don't know.
30
honey.
at least.
Long time.
At least 30.
Well, also
you
we
were-
have a sports oil and the sports cream, and what it does, it has arnica in it and a lot of essential oils.
Yeah.
And I had a massage done with it because I was having a lot of muscle issues, and she said it's the best thing she's ever seen as far as massaging into your body, because within minutes you start feeling you're relaxed. Any joint the joint pain is gone. I put it on every morning on my back. And
I just thought of something. Dave and Rick, if you're back there, because they're the ones that make sure that we got a picture right now. And then all the crew here make sure their cameras are correct and focused. So we, if we didn't have all this crew, there would be no TV.
That's right.
Okay, just so you understand that. But Rick and Dave, you know what we got to do sometime? I'm saying this, I'm producing right on air. We've got to go to his gym and put chairs in there and have all of the equipment around us and then talk about this kind of subject.
We could.
I'm not
do
kidding
it.
you. I mean, that would
be a show.
That would be a
Show of
visual,
shows, yep.
and you would finally say, "So this is what he's talking about."
Okay,
but someday that's going to happen.
Here's some articles right here. Magnesium importance far greater than previously imagined. First sentence. Calcium deficiency is a common nutritional concern, but how many folks consider the vital importance of magnesium in human health? Then it talks about if you don't have enough magnesium, you end up with fibromyalgia, atrial fibrillation, type 2 diabetes, PMS, cardiovascular disease mortality, migraine disorders, aging. The list just goes on and on. Another article, magnesium lowers risk of type 2 diabetes and sudden cardiac death. Goes on how much magnesium, high magnesium intake linked to a 23% reduction in type 2 diabetes. Then it goes back to another article. Magnesium is basic to cancer treatment. You have to have magnesium in your system if you're going to have a successful magnesium cancer protocol. 10 evidence-based health benefits of magnesium. It goes on and on. It talks about it helps create energy, protein formulation. Magnesium may boost exercise performance. Magnesium fights depression. Magnesium is effective against type 2 diabetes. But remember, guys, when you take it orally, it doesn't work as well because it goes through as a laxative. Magnesium can lower blood pressure.
And by the way, it works as a laxative.
Yeah, it does.
Seriously.
It does.
Because I always had, before I started on magnesium, I always had that problem. Since magnesium, 30 years ago. In fact, that's what killed Elvis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the
not
things.
Elvis.
Seriously.
I knew we'd get Elvis into
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
some
But you know,
some way.
we have prayer time every morning with our kids, and we take turns in the foot bath and soak our feet every morning. It's amazing.
And the magnesium has anti-inflammatory
We've got
effects.
4 minutes left.
Magnesium can help prevent migraines. Magnesium reduces insulin resistance. Magnesium helps remove PMS symptoms. Magnesium is safe and widely accepted.
So you're saying to put it on your skin?
Oh, yes.
More
it
so
works
than
much better.
anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, it works as a laxative.
I've got to
by the
get
way.
your deodorant.
We'll send it
love
to
it.
you. I apologize.
I've got
I want some too.
I love it.
And then also, well, then we have another article I want to cover this morning. The top 15 lies you're being told about health and that you're being told about health and mainstream medicine. And we'll cover that on another show. But see, the thing about it is this, guys, and think about this for a second. When we're born, we're given our health pretty much as standard equipment if you're born healthy. That's what happens. But then we kind of neglect our health because we start taking it for granted because it was given to us free by God. Now, what's interesting about this is then people start ignoring their health and they start realizing that, hey, I can do this and this and get away with it. I can drink this diet soda and I don't drop dead suddenly. So you think, well, diet sodas are okay. Well, diet sodas aren't good, aren't okay because they cause brain tumors, brain cancer, seizures, headaches, and optic nerve degradation and depression. But you don't realize that because it doesn't affect you immediately. So you get into this lifestyle pattern of doing things that you know aren't healthy for you, but you don't drop dead, so you don't think they're that bad.
That's right.
Then suddenly you're 40 or 50 years old, and now you feel like you just dropped dead because you feel absolutely awful and you have no energy and you look awful, you feel bad, you feel tired all the time. You go, what the heck just happened? Well, what happened to you is not something you did yesterday. It's the entire lifetime of abuse that your body has taken. That's why the Bible says, don't you know that yourselves, that you're God's temple, that His Spirit lives within you? And it says if you destroy God's temple, you also get destroyed. And the reason for that is not because God's trying to be mean to you. It's just that it's a natural physical law. If you do certain things that are bad for you on a continual basis, you end up getting sick, period. I mean, type 2 diabetes is one of those things that really can be prevented almost every single time by changing your diet and eating the right kind of foods. And even if you are type 2 diabetic, in many cases you can come back off the insulin if you change the way you eat and you take the proper supplements. So now ask yourself a question. If you have high blood pressure, you start eating properly and start taking the right supplements to keep the blood pressure low, doesn't it make sense? Had you done that to begin with, you never would have had high blood pressure. Wow. If you do the same thing with diabetes, if you're adult onset diabetic, and you start eating correctly and you correct the condition and you're no longer diabetic, doesn't it make sense that you never would have become diabetic to start with had you eaten the right kind of foods? And this is what we're trying to teach you. It really is that simple. The problem is most people don't understand. There are certain foods that are poisonous. In my latest book, Breakthrough Health, I tell you like the top 10 foods never to eat. We go into detail about statin drugs. Statin drugs, we talked about calcium earlier, that are lower cholesterol. Statin drugs actually cause arterial calcification. Yep. The very thing that they're trying to do by reducing your cholesterol to reduce your risk of heart disease, the very drug they give you increases the risks of heart disease and skeletal muscle necrosis, and it damages the heart because it prevents the body from producing enough quantity of coenzyme Q10. And so all of these drugs have horrible, horrible side effects. In fact, in the book we cover the top 10 drugs never to use. And so if you want to order the Magnesium Protocol, the whole kit, we'll go ahead and send you that book with that kit at no extra expense. But guys, listen to me for a second. Start today. Make today the day that turns your life around. Make today the day that you realize it's time to start eating right and doing the right things with my body and the right things with my food.
Wow. Did you know that in this Bible, you can trust Christ and be saved and be ready for heaven?
That's right.
Did you know that? He said, but as many as receive me, to them He'll give the power to be called His children. Receive Him today. And you that are saved and ready for heaven, read at least 2 chapters in this Bible today. And here's another challenge, especially in these times we live in. Pray at least 15 minutes.
That's right.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching It's Time. If you have recently made a decision for Christ, Herman and Sharon would like to hear from you.